Hi, so today I want to make a wonderful exercise called the swimming dragon. I do have another video on the swimming dragon that's done in the more traditional way, but I want to show you a different version of that with the feet together. So, take a moment and bring your awareness to your feet. And let your feet come together and find the level that works for you that you can feel stable. You are going to be moving with this narrow posture. And then bring your hands in prayer position right against the heart. And we're going to work with this very dynamic exercise that gets to work the whole body. The wonderful energy of the dragon. So let's begin by bending your knees. So your knees are slightly bent. And I'm going to invite you to take your hands over to one side and turn your head and go to the other side. So keep the knees bent, hands one way, head the opposite. And then we're going to start to add the hips. So now head and hips go over to your left as your hands go to your right. And then the hands are going to come to the left as the hips and the head turn to the right. So slowly going back and forth, keeping those knees bent, working right through the heart center. Getting a nice big stretch, head and hips one way, hands the opposite. And let's do that again, but let's lower the hands now. Bring them down, point the fingers towards the screen, and let your hands go back and forth along the abdomen. Continue to move the hands one way, head and hip the opposite. And then we're going to do a third position where the hands come down. This is like the dragon tail, so you can sway that tail a little bit with your hands. Once again, continuing head and hips one way, hands swaying like a dragon tail going the opposite way. Good. And then let's come back up to that midsection, fingers pointing towards the screen. Going back and forth, getting this nice loosening in the spine, moving the energy of the body, strengthening the legs, and then hands point towards the ceiling as we work at the level of the heart. Good, and then a few more times, one more to this side. One more to that side, and then coming back to the center. And now we'll do part 2, which is the swimming part. So bend the knees and let's begin to kind of freestyle it here. Moving the spine like a fish or a snake. Just kind of moving around. If you want to challenge yourself, you can go really low. And then you can start to move your way up the spine. Loosening up all the tension. Hands slowly flowing up the midline. Let your hands start to come above the head. And then rising up on your toes. Get a sense of your toes. Rising up. Get a nice big stretch. And then slowly flow back to your heels. As your hands come down and pause in front of your heart. Let's take a few deep breaths. And now let's take that whole thing that we've just learned into a flow. So we're going to work with one at each level. So we'll do one at the heart level, one at the navel level, one like a tail down here, back to the mid-level, back to the heart level. And we're going to go through that whole cycle to kind of support you. So let's begin by first gathering some energy. So bend your knees once again. We'll start going to the left here. Let's gather some energy around you. Bring it around and let it fill your heart. Bend the knees, circle around, gather some energy, let it fill your heart. One more time. Coming around. Fill the heart. Once again, the knees stay bent. Send your hands off to the left as the head and the hips go right. And then back through the midline, going the opposite direction. And then like a tail, going down and over. Back through the midline. Back through the heart area. And then back to the center and freestyle swimming. Loosening up the spine, going back and forth. Elbows and shoulders and spine. Getting moving here. Slowly working your way up. Nice big stretch here to finish as we let our hands go above the head. Once again, getting up on your tippy toes. Getting a nice big full body stretch. And then roll down to your heels and let your hands slowly come back. And pause at your heart. Great. Let's do that flow one more time in the opposite direction. So let's begin with the knees bent, and we'll start by circling to the right. Gathering energy, circling it around and let it fill your heart. Going around and let it fill your heart. One more time, circling around like you're cutting through the air and gathering energy into your heart. And with knees bent, let's go to the right, looking to the left. Back through the midline, looking to the right. And then our little tail here, going to the right. Back through the midline. Back through the heart area. And back to the center. And swim. Going low if you want to challenge yourself, or staying a little bit higher. Loosening things up here. As the arms slowly reach up towards the sky. And then get a big full body stretch. Up on those toes, really bouncing. Roll down to the heels. As the hands slowly float back down. Resting in front of your heart. Take a few nice deep breaths in and out through the nose. A sense of settling in, feeling your full body. I hope that helps. Have a wonderful day. Take care.